Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I'm Mona Duncan, and I have this little chat every week to kind of look at keeping me on track and maybe sharing some ideas or some information with others. And it's always nice to have you here in person and also to see the accumulations of those of you that have stopped by to see what we were talking about during the weeks. So thank you very much. Today we're going to be looking at helping others to change. Helping others to change. And as I was thinking about this, just sitting here waiting for the time to get started, I thought maybe I know what I've kind of talked about and here want to share with you, or is helping others to change. Maybe I need to just take off that to change, because if we have that intention of wanting to fix somebody else, we're not much help. So sometimes we need to just have a little compassion and a little empathy for what's going on. So helping others to change. Every choice that we make has its own set of circumstances. Things are always changing, things are always different. And so those setbacks that one often considers, whenever we have a setback of some kind, we often begin to think about the devil you do not know would be better than the devil you know. And we don't know. But the thing of it is, quitting the job or leaving the marriage, both of them bring solutions, but they also bring problems. And so if the problems within have not been settled, just because we change to do something else, they show up in the next employment or in the next relationship. So in helping others to change, the first thing I thought of was therapy. But I'm not talking therapy like a psychiatrist or a doctor, or, I'm talking about just being a neighbor. I'm talking about caring for your own, whether it is the family or the next door neighbor or whomever, people that you interact with. And so, in looking at words and what they mean and what they were faded into, therapy was just to take care of. And it was the meaning of to serve as an attendant. If you need help, I'm here to help you. And so also in the process of caring and being an attendant is to promote healing. But I can't think about therapy without thinking about Dr. William Glasser and the book that he wrote and became quite famous in 1965. And he wrote this book primarily for professionals. I mean, he was a psychiatrist and knew a lot of people that were having clients come to him for psychiatric help. But the thing of it is what it's so related to helping to take care of someone and to serving as an attendant and to promote healing, that it was used and read and adopted by the common ordinary person, the one that was there to be a genuine helper. So initially, I started looking at this as carrying the message, not the person. And so, what do I mean by if we carry a person? I don't mean literally to pick them up physically. It's that kind of telling them what to do. And how much do you appreciate someone telling you what to do, or grilling what they should have done? Asking these questions. Well, did you do this, or did you do that, or did you say this, or what do you think about this? And then also doing for them. And maybe sometimes it's doing for them when they don't want to be done for, when they don't want to be helped, when they don't want your advice, when they don't. But that comes back to carrying the person. And maybe the person that you are, trying to carry is just going to be glad whenever it's time for you to go home. Or it is offering help or giving help that really is not help whenever we carry a person. And that it's realizing that all of us have the same needs. We have the same needs. And those same needs are not only to survive and keep on breathing and keep on living and healing, but also to love and belong, to have fun, to be empowered, to have power and ability to do things, as well as there's another one that we have, that the need for, the need to, well, anyway, but the needs are carried differently, meaning that the five needs that I have to survive, the five needs that I have for empowerment and for love and belonging may be different than the ones that you have. And that word but means nonetheless, nevertheless, although, except, or on the contrary. And so if we are helping someone, how helpful is that? So we want to carry the message. And the message to come across metaphysically, the message that would come across that just touches the fact that there is caring there, caring. So to carry the message, first of all, it's with a smile and it's with compassion. To realize that even though you may be sharing with me something that's frustrating for you, I don't understand everything that you're trying to share. Carrying the message is then clarifying what you have understood the individual, what you have understood their despair to be, and what their concerns to be, and how you maybe can help or not. And it's realizing that each one of us, not only the one you are caring about, but that each one of us act out of our hurts. We act out of our hurts. When we've been hurt, we have a tendency to act out of, or maybe I should say, we have a tendency to react out of, whether it is a physical pain or an emotional pain. And so in carrying the message, it's to understand that the person that is sharing with you. And so in the process is to acknowledge the individual's strength. I can understand that this is difficult, but you're really, you know how to handle things more than maybe right now in this situation. It may not, we may have our blinders on and are not seeing as well as we could have otherwise. And it's also helping the person to, in carrying the message, is to breathe into the objectivity, to just take that breath that can just fill your lungs. And in the process of it filling your lungs, maybe let it go to those shoulders that are, kind of tired. And so that you can feel it and let them breathe that air in. And then as we release it, that can be healing within itself, because we breathe in oxygen and it gets into our blood system and it goes all the way through our body. And even though we're breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out all the time, especially when we deliberately breathe in and breathe out, we are releasing carbon dioxide that is setting up in our body and, adding to the physical pain as well as the emotional pain. So, and to count, not 1 to 100, but to count erratically, to count, and to speak it out loud with me. 1, 2, 7, 11, 12, 13, 5, 6, 7. Because what that does is it causes a disruption in the mind. You're so used to just counting off 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, and whatever it is. But when we mix them all up, the mind is going, what? And so a message is more readily available to be heard or to be considered or to be understood. And so I've mentioned this before, but it is with our mind, with our cognition, that we think, weigh, and consider the various issues of life. And sometimes we get them all mixed up. It is with our emotions that we feel those issues of life. had, sad, happy, angry, whatever those emotions are, frustrated. And it is with our will that we make those decisions. I will do that. I will do this. I will not do that. I will not do this. That we decide those issues of life. So it's also continuing on. What else is carrying the message? It is allowing for relating, to maybe the person that is frustrated and you are being the helper or the one that they are dispensing their frustrations to, that it want to be hearing it in such a way that you are relating to the situation as opposed to winning over it and everybody else is the underdog and the defeater. And so is looking at the dialogue potentials that as we can kind of repeat what the person is saying, if they are angry or they're frustrated, to help look at the potential, how we can help them to calm down. Forced input never helps. Forced input, such as somebody wanting to know, is this true? Is it not true? Well, as the helpers carrying the message, you know what? I really don't know if what's his name actually landed on the moon and got out and walked around. But I've been to NASA and they have all kinds of information that verifies the fact that it did happen. Sometimes we need forced input, or sometimes we give forced input, but that doesn't help because, just the person will just dismiss it. And then there's that being responsible to, but not for, as in wanting to help someone, just to help them, not necessarily to change, but just to help, doesn't entail enabling, coming along and, trying to do things for them. And so it's realizing that we are self-determining for our effect as well as for our ineffective behaviors. We are all self-determining, whether we are the helper or whether we are the non-helper, whether we are the complicator. If we think that we are carrying, it's looking at the message that we are carrying. Is it helping to be effective? Is it effective behavior and attitudinal and everything else within ourselves? And also, is it in the instructions or in the conversation, that we are having with the other or the others? And so it's realizing that I do care. I do care where you're coming from. I do care for your pain, physically as well as emotionally. I do care. But you know what? I don't have the abilities to carry you. And that it is looking at what the problem is, not necessarily what the personality is. And you can get along with the problems better. So it's self-evaluating of the human condition, or maybe just of my human condition, and to self-evaluate and to ask some questions and to not only ask them, but we're asking them of ourselves and going internally to answer. And so if we berate ourselves while rationalizing behavior, do we do we have a tendency to beat ourselves up, but at the same time saying, yeah, but. And how do we view setbacks? Do we see them as something to compete against? Can we see that setback as something that we need to look into, how that we can have a self-improvement? Do we need to look at all of the factors involved in that setback or in that situation that we can still have being relatable to and with? And then could or would cooperation create a win-win situation? that cooperation, and that conversing. And then, is it possible that criticism is a no-lose situation? If it's been observed and seen as criticized and been hurt, and instead of acting out of that hurt or acting out of that wound, can we see it as maybe the person was trying to be creative or trying to be making fun, but a funny fun, not a critical fun? It depends on how we see things. And do you know when you are taking things too personally, taking them too seriously? We are adding on to something that could be lighter if we unpacked it in some different direction. And then what steps can you take to be more objective, to see things differently, to see life in itself differently? Well, just having a few thoughts about how to help ourselves, but how to help others, and to be. So thanks for being here, and many blessings.